Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we want to talk about couples and finances when two become one. We have this thing that we want to do, and we're going to talk about like the three strikes, if you will, of marriages. Like finances and communications and sex. Really, is what this whole video series is going to be talking about. But those are really the big three as it relates to couples deciding they no longer want to be together. So today we're going to be talking about finances. And finances, well, let me tell you, coming into our marriage, even up to now, just celebrating 10 years, we hadn't always had it together. We're now starting to see the silver lining and just being able to actually walk in financial freedom. But yeah, we want to talk about finances, and we're hoping to definitely give you some tips and some revelations. But it's not actually going to even come from us. It's going to be a part two of this. And we're going to have our finance mom, is what I love to call her, who's going to definitely give nuggets. Because again, we want to see couples and marriages, we want to see them surviving. There's no reason for us to dissolve a marriage because we couldn't come together or because our money was funny. There's help, and we just simply seek that help. We can begin to turn some things around. Now, again, I don't condone some stuff. Domestic violence, get out. Other stuff that you made, that just deal breakers in general. But things like communication, things like trying to get your money together, there is help. And one of the things about it is we can't be too prideful not to seek that help. Now, I'm not going to do all the talking. My lovely wife over here, I'm sure she got some stories. I got a couple stories, one or two. She got a lot of them. Nevertheless.
I think one thing about finances when two become one, it's important to talk about finances before the two become one. And I think for us, that's a part where we neglect it.
Definitely.
I think we kind of just went over the bare surface without really pulling back the layers and having some real deep conversations. And we missed the mark in that.
Yes.
And with missing that mark, it impacted our marriage, our first literally 10 years of marriage. People kept telling me, your first 5 years of marriage is going to be so hard. Well, no, for me, it was literally the first 10. I think now we're finally getting to a better place, but we are a work in progress. But we definitely had to have some hard conversations and get help with it. Going back to talking about those finances before coming one, I would encourage people to not be ashamed. If this is someone you're choosing to say yes to, or you're choosing to be committed to in a serious relationship, don't be ashamed of those finances, because either one or two things are going to happen. Either they're going to accept you and your finances, or they're not. And if they don't accept you and your finances, then maybe that wasn't meant to be, because I really truly believe that God put people together so that they can work and become one, to really empower one another and get to a better place.
Yeah, because if you walk in pride, the possibility or the likelihood of being able to resolve issues is almost impossible. Definitely come into the relationship talking about those things, even a fresh relationship. There's a story that I was hearing on an interview. This young lady who knocked out $90,000 in debt. She was single. She knocked out $90,000 in debt in 3 months. And I was, not 3 months, I'm sorry, in 3 years. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And so the guy during the interview asked her, are you dating anybody? And she was like, I am, but here's what I did. And she was like, she put together a PowerPoint presentation, y'all. A PowerPoint presentation showing him everything that she was trying to do, and simply told him either you're on board or you're not. And they're together, so I guess he got on board. But that's just one of the things, that she was so serious about her goals that she said, I cannot allow you to enter into my life and disrupt what I have going on. And a lot of times we take those things for granted, just the simple communication or a simple conversation like, what are your financial goals? You cannot be afraid to ask that. You can't be afraid to ask yourself, what are your financial goals? When I first moved to Nashville, I knew what it was I was trying to do. I knew I wanted to come in and work for the Nissan plant because I knew they paid well. And I said, okay, I want to buy my first house by the time I'm 25, and I'm going to get married by the time I'm 30. And when I turn 40, I'm going to go buy a boat and a truck. And if I don't have the truck when I go ready to go buy the boat, then I'm going to go get the truck first and then carry over to get my boat. Somewhere along the line, my plan failed. Because if it's just the thing, really, if you fail to plan, then you definitely plan to fail. So I was trying to figure it out even today, like what happened? You know, I met this little beauty over here and I don't know, I lost my mind. No, but really what happened was I was, of course, working for Nissan, and Nissan offered the first buyout. And I took the first buyout with having peace because I prayed about it first. However, even though I prayed about it, even though I had peace about it, I did not plan. I didn't have any plans for the finances. I didn't have any plans for the job. Actually, I did have a plan for a job. I had someone who I thought was a friend, and he actually reached out to me after hearing that what my plan was going to be with taking a buyout. And he was this management in a bank. And he was like, I got a job for you when you leave. So when I leave, of course, I contact him. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to bring you in for an interview. And 6 months later, he finally gets me into an interview. Now, for 6 months, I don't have a plan. And I didn't change my lifestyle. I was very accustomed that if I overspent, that I knew I could put that money back. And so that's the way I live my life. I remember when your vehicle, you needed some service and it was like, it's going to be $800. And I was like, go ahead and get the whole thing fixed because I knew I was going to be with her. And so I was like, go ahead and just let them fix the whole thing. I got it. Don't worry about it. That's just my heart to make sure that I take care of the person that I'm with. And, you know, and all was well. And then when the storm hit, I didn't have anything to fall back on. And even going through a repo. Now, this interesting thing and the heartbreaking thing for me when I had my repo was it was on a car I could have paid cash for 3 times. But because I didn't have a plan, and I think even God made some ways, like I had rims on it. Hey, look, that was my ride. I had a neighbor who was moving into the neighborhood who backed into my car with the U-Haul truck. Now, I was still fighting because I was, scratching, trying to make the car note. And she backed into my car. Now, she had insurance on it, interesting enough. And I got $900 for that bumper. Now, I did make my car payment, but I still did not plan. And, okay, I was like, I'm going to have to sell my rims. I don't want to do that. Just over silly stuff. And all it really boiled down to was planning. And because I didn't plan, I come into this relationship and I come into this marriage and she's experiencing everything that I'm going through. And as the man, I hated to have put her in that place, in that situation. So I'm trying to figure out what is it I'm trying to do. And, God, you called me to be a minister and I never wanted to be a minister who was in debt. Here I am in debt and I'm fighting other stuff. Like, God, what's going on? What do I need to do? And I left Nissan and I told God that I would go into ministry after I found a better job. That was 10 years ago. Where is this better job? Because I made more money at Nissan then than I make money now. So it's like, okay, I should have did this thing God's way, but I just did not plan.
I think one part that you're leaving out during that whole thing is while he was going through those different situations, I was telling him or asking him, hey, is everything okay? You need help? What's going on? Do you remember that?
Yeah, remember I mentioned pride?
Yeah, that pride right there. And so it was frustrating for me because when I say we talked about finances, but we just talked about it on the surface level, So as we're dating and all this stuff is coming up, and then it's kind of like, oh, we're engaged now, you know. So it's like I'm in too deep to kind of run off now. But I really loved him and cared for him. And so I'm like, okay, well, we can work through this. But as we kept dating, we start peeling back layers. And you know, I came in with some student loans, still got them, working on those. But as we were dating, I'm like, where is all this coming from? You know, what is this and what is that? And why didn't you just ask for help? That was my biggest thing, is why didn't you ask for help? And I think that whole energy that we had then just kind of rolled over into our marriage.
Into now.
And then into now. But backing up, we started having kids. Yeah. And that really put a strain on us financially. You know, just trying to make ends meet and living off of credit cards to get diapers and formula. And thank God, you know, we have a very supportive family. They was helping with the kids where they could. But the whole journey it's just so draining, and it's just so frustrating to the point where it's like, Lord, is this even worth it? Because, you know, you kind of start thinking, I can do bad all by myself. You know, I don't need a second person to bring me, you know, further down. I've worked hard to get here. So it was just a really hard season for us. And I say season, but this season lasted 10 years. And until this year right here, one thing that in 2019, I asked him, I said, you know, let's just commit 2020 to just focusing on our finances, and let's make that commitment to one another and do that. And that's what we chose to do. And we're work in progress. Again, we asked for help because I was struggling and praying for help, because I didn't grow up in a family that taught me how to budget, that taught me how to, you know, pay your bills on time before they're due. Yeah. Right? So it's like, oh, the bill's due on the 5th, so I'm going to pay it on the 5th. So I didn't have all that. So I definitely needed help in that area. Even though I felt like I was doing okay, I still needed help in that area, because I was still just as dysfunctional as he was, but just on a different level. But when two become one, it's just really tough.
Yeah, it definitely magnifies that thing when two people come together and you have all your stuff, all your baggage. And of course, one is probably going to have more than the other. And for the other person, it can definitely be very challenging, because like she said, you know, why didn't you ask for help? I wasn't accustomed to asking for help, you know, to witness avoiding phone calls because maybe a bill collector was calling, and you just kind of let it go to voicemail and you don't return the call because right now I don't have the money.
I used to get so frustrated about that. Like, how come you just want to pick up the phone and talk to them?
But see,
you're like, I don't have the money. I know you ain't got the money. They know you ain't got the money, but you can at least work out something. You just don't ignore them. They're not going to go away.
But that's a cultural thing. Well, it may not even be cultural, because I'm sure in some houses they do discuss that like the bank don't want your car. They would rather have your money.
Yeah.
You know, pick up the phone and have a conversation and tell them what's going on. See, those things weren't being taught. So we can teach our children that, but we're going to teach our children, you know, financial stability even now. Okay, you want $1. What are you planning on doing? What is your plan for this dollar? Okay, you want this thing at the store. Do you have the money for it? And is it all of your money, or do you still have money put away? Just teaching them about financial responsibility now, which sounds crazy because they're 5 and they're 7, but other cultures are doing it. Why not? Remember when we were at J. Alexander's in Cool Springs, and we were waiting on our table, and this guy was walking out with his daughter, and she couldn't been any more than 5 years old. And he was like, look, baby, you plant your business out here because you're going to make a lot of money. And I'm thinking, why is he having this conversation with this little girl? But she must have said something about having a business. And he's telling her, plant your business out here because you're going to get more business, better business. And in that area, people are going to come to your store and pay your prices. And so I'm looking at this like, man, I wish I had been taught that. You know, now your parents are going to teach you all they know. If they have no knowledge of that, then they can't teach you that. However, as they say, what is the old saying? It'll come to me in a second. oh, when you know better, you do better. And so when you become adults, you can't keep hanging on that, oh, I wasn't taught that. There are books that teach that. There are free seminars that teach financial stability. You have the Dave Ramsey plan, you have Thrivent, and our finance mom who's going to talk to you guys, she's with Thrivent. She's going to talk about this stuff. There are tools that are given, and a lot of them are free. It's, are you willing to do the research to get yourself on track?
I mean, I would say that sometimes people just don't get it off top.
That's true.
I took Dave Ramsey by myself once,
and
we took it together twice.
Mm-hmm.
That's a total of 3 times.
But
we ain't get it together. So I think it's a process.
Yeah.
Either you got it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay if you don't. You just do what you can until you get it and get the help that you need.
They say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, if you don't drink at this moment and I leave and you leave with me, well, I'm going to bring you back again with me, and then I'm going to show you how to drink this water. Sometimes we give up on people, and we give up on them prematurely. So sometimes you just have to continue to bring them to the water, and eventually when they get thirsty enough, they'll start drinking something, or you're going to die.
Yeah, I agree. I think the points that we want to make tonight is that, one, have those conversations. They're tough, they're uncomfortable, but they're very necessary. And you know what? And there's some people that don't even need to have this conversation because they got themselves all the way together.
Oh, really?
They got their finances together, and that's awesome. We were not one of those people, so that's why we're having this conversation with y'all.
I dealt with the regret because I said, had I met Heavenly when I was 24 or 25. Now, 24 when I was in a bad relationship. No, really, when I was...
You didn't want to meet me when you was 21, 25.
Lord have mercy. I told y'all, the stalker. I hope y'all did not forget. No. Had I been 24 and 25 and she was ready to meet me, how about that? Because though I didn't have this plan together, I didn't lose sight of what it was I was trying to do. And all I needed was just someone to come show me the rest of the way, right? So I'm putting money away, but what is that money doing? It's just sitting there. And no, it's not there. That was one of my biggest regrets. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that I lost sight of what it was I was trying to do. To be married by the age of 30, being able to go to Tiffany & Co. and buy my wife that ring.
Because that ring did not come from
Ooh,
Tiffany.
Jesus, it didn't. Oh, it came from, where did it come?
I don't even remember. I don't even have the ring. That's you know what? That's something else. I think for me, for us, we put so much emphasis.
It wasn't a bad ring, though.
It wasn't a bad ring. We put so much emphasis on the ring, right?
Yeah, that's true.
We had, we wanted to get the right ring. We wanted him to have the right ring, instead of really putting emphasis on areas that we really need to focus on before we entered into the marriage. And then, today, I don't even wear the ring. I'm wearing, one of these little things. But I think it's just amazing how over a 10-year time frame or 11, 12-year time frame, the mind shifts, and you really start putting things in priority. And some people, rings are, that's their thing.
Yeah.
For me, that was not my thing. It's not my thing. But
and I think had I asked the question, that stress alone could have been taken care of.
What question would you had asked?
What type of ring would you want?
You wouldn't have been happy with the type of ring that if I said I wanted one of these, you would have been like, I'm not getting you that, because your taste was up here.
It's still up here. It's just in moderation.
Right, okay.
I got stuff to do.
That's right, okay. Continue on.
You were the one talking.
Oh, I'm done.
You're done?
Mm-hmm.
It is very important to have those conversations. And if you're married, still have those conversations. This is something that should be done weekly. We're discovering that now.
We're a work in progress. Don't let him sit up here
and
hold on, wait a minute. No, y'all, don't let him act like, don't let him sit up here and act like we got this thing together. We don't. It's a work in progress.
It's still a work in progress, but it's...
He don't be wanting to talk about nothing.
Well, I be asking you. Like, when we gonna talk about these finances?
Y'all, you gonna get up on this camera? Okay.
You remember in the last video that the thunder came when you was live.
The thunder came? Okay.
Yeah. Listen, we came into this year. Actually, no, the beginning of last year is when we began this journey, and
It's
now,
only 2020. We just started in January.
we started in December.
Officially in January.
Look, how much have we knocked out between January and now?
A
Dan?
lot. We've been doing good by the grace of God. Seriously.
Listen, we were pedaling like crazy. I wanted to say the other word.
Yeah.
Trying to stay afloat,
We
and
were.
now just being able to kind of relax a little, but knowing we still have some financial goals to hit. We have 2 children that we may have to put through college. I say may because what if my son wants to be a musician? He says he want to play the piano and sing. I want to be able to invest in him doing lessons, taking lessons. I want to be able to invest in him doing studio time. If my daughter decides that she wants to be a doctor, I want to be able to take care of her first 8 years of school. But that doctor agrees she's going to have to feel the pain on that one. But I want to be able to just pour into my children in this season. If my wife says, oh, I'm a little stressed or I'm a little tense, I want her to be able to go and get a massage. Go get your feet cut open.
Cut open. Okay. This your second time trying to play my feet. Okay. I got okay feet. First of all, no, my feet better than okay. Okay.
Listen.
So you're not gonna keep getting on this YouTube channel trying to make my feet look like they got, I don't know, just a hot mess. You ought to be shaming yourself.
Listen, when
We're
I
not
first
gonna do this, y'all. Listen.
when I was checking you out, I had to check out your feet because I had to make sure you didn't have eagle talons.
Okay. Yeah.
You were all right in that department.
I was okay.
Yeah, you were good.
Okay.
You very good.
Okay. So don't
I'm
get
just
up
saying,
here.
Don't let it go.
Don't get up on this camera. This your
Cutting
second
me
time.
in the day. I'm
No,
trying to figure out where these sores coming
Stop.
from.
Listen, y'all. Look, we appreciate y'all joining us
We love
for
y'all.
this
Thank
moment.
y'all so much for your support.
Please tune in to part 2. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Full of information. And if you have any questions, hey, hit us up.
Hit us up. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, leave a comment under the channel, please. That is engagement. We need to engage as much as possible, even if you don't respond back. What we're gonna do? Like, comment, and subscribe. God bless.